Welcome to video number 2 in the Interview Secrets video series. We're going to talk about how practice makes perfect. No professional athlete gets to be the top of their game unless they practice. So what does that mean? Well, when I tell my students that they've got to practice 30 or 3 hours for every 30 minutes that they have scheduled for their interview, they freak out. So it's a sliding scale. If you've got an hour interview scheduled, do you have to put in 3 hours? No, probably have to put in 5. If you've got a whole day, does that mean you've got to put 3 days in? No. If you have a whole day interview, you probably have to have at least 8 hours of practice, and I, of course, break that up. Here's how you're going to do that. You're going to find somebody that loves you, that has your vested interest at heart, and will help you. You can't sit in front of a mirror and practice. That's not going to work. You need to talk, open your mouth, and say something to someone, because if you read a bunch of, hey, here's the questions that are going to be asked for an accountant, let's say, if you read those to yourself and answer them in your head, of course, everything you say in your head sounds so fantastic. But as soon as you open your mouth, it's not so great. So you've got to practice with somebody who cares for you. Here's what you want to do. You want to practice for 45 minutes at a time, no more than 45 minutes. Don't make that person hate you. You want to have 3 or 4 sessions set up, one in the morning, take a break, one in the late morning, take a break, have lunch, one early afternoon, take a break, one in the evening or after your dinner, and then have another 45-minute session. And you're going to download 25 questions that are asked to most business applicants for jobs. I mean, I don't know. There's a bazillion different things out there. I don't care. What I want you to do is, though, practice those questions with a live person, okay? They're going to ask the questions and you're going to answer them. Now, before you do that, you want to make sure that you get your job description for the job you want, and you want to highlight the things that you do really well in that job description, and you want to hand it to the person who's going to ask the questions. And you want to have a list of 25 questions or 20 or something like that. I would at least have 20 questions to practice on. The whole purpose of highlighting the things that you do well on, and we're going to get back to that when we talk about how to negotiate your salary, is that you're saying, I can do these really well. So the person reading that job description is going to know that, okay, this is stuff you do well. The stuff that's not highlighted, they probably want to focus on and make sure that you have a way of answering those things that you don't do well. And you've got to practice those. You you give the questions to the person that's going to help you, and the first question that you need to answer, and you've already practiced this, is your elevator pitch, your 30-second elevator pitch. Now, I say 30 seconds, really that can be up to 2 minutes, but it really needs to be a very compelling 2 minutes about why you're here. And the first question is going to be why you're here, why should we hire you, why are you perfect for this job, tell me about yourself. It's not the time to say, well, if someone says, hey, tell me about yourself, which is what they usually do in the first question of the interview. Don't say something like, well, I like to walk in the rain so people don't see me cry, and I've got 12 cats and 6 dogs. I don't care about that. When I ask you the tell me about yourself question, it's, hey, how are you going to help me solve my problem? Because that's what employees do. I have a problem I've got to solve with manpower or woman power, and that's the reason why I'm looking for an employee. You're going to really get that 30-second elevator pitch. Excuse me, I just need to start saying elevator pitch. You really need to get that elevator pitch down until the person that's helping you says, oh my gosh, that's fantastic, don't change a thing. For me, I like to write down keywords that I need to remember. If that helps you, great. If you're the kind of person who has to write everything else out, I mean, okay. But don't make it sound like you're reading from something when you regurgitate your elevator pitch. And remember, it needs to tell me why I should hire you, what you're passionate about, what you're going to do for me, and all those kind of great things. And we'll talk more about that when we have the live interview, but you really need to make sure that your elevator pitch tells me what you're passionate about and how you're going to help me achieve my goals. And those things in the job description will help you craft your elevator pitch, because those are the problems or the things that I need done usually. So that should be your first place to look. A good intro makes the life go a lot easier. So if I say, so tell me about yourself, and you knock it out of the ballpark, my job as an interviewer has become so much easier. Because if you've done your job and you've said, hey, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to help you make money, this is what I'm passionate about, now it's all downhill from there. Trust me, this is the most important thing you've got to work on. But you also have to be able to answer all the other questions that are going to come at you. It's not like that's going to be the only question you're going to get if you knock it out of the ballpark. Okay, practice will give you confidence and the competence and the ability to not be so scared. If you're one of those persons that get really scared during a job interview, trust me, practice, practice, practice with somebody who cares about you. Now, let me make sure that you understand the process. Person's going to read off the question. You're going to answer it. If the person doesn't like your answer or it sounds goofy, then they're going to say, okay, wait a minute. Why aren't you answering it this way? They're going to give you some feedback and you're going to try it again. I want you to focus on the one question at a time. If you give a couple of answers and they're not very good, then check mark that or highlight it or whatever that question and come back to it. You're not going to answer the questions right the first time. Just get that in your head. And that's the reason why you need feedback. And if you don't answer it the way that the person that's helping you go, okay, that's good, that sounds great, then come back to it. It's okay. I've had students and clients go back to a question a couple of times until they get it right or they feel like that's the right answer. So don't worry about that. All right, I want you to learn how to answer your questions less than 2 minutes. So you're going to time your questions. Also, I want you to use the managerial green triangle. And the green triangle is what all managers worry about. They worry about making money, and saving time. So if you can answer a question that uses an example where you make money, or save time, you're golden. As an example, tell me about a time where you had an upset customer. Well, I had an upset customer come into the office, threw down an order, said it was wrong, that we shipped it wrong. I looked up the order, and of course it was correct. We did ship it correct, but the customer was excited, so I went and got the part, gave it to him. It was $100 more. I said, look, don't worry about it. We'll catch you next month or next order. If it's a big deal, go out and be happy. He came back the next day and said, thank you so much for saving this order. Here's a big order now over the counter at 30% profit, which is huge, and I really appreciate it. Not only did we make the customer happy, we made a huge amount of money on that order, and that became one of our best customers. Happy ending, right? We made money, and I don't know if we saved money, but we probably didn't save time, but we definitely made money. So that's a great story. I want you to make sure that you use positive words. Positive words are yes, I can, I will, I have achieved, I know how to do, I'm passionate about, I love, what gets me out of bed in the morning. Use those words and don't overdo it, but make sure that you use passion and love and all those great things, because that shows me that you really are excited about this position and you're not just going through the motions. I want you to make sure that you don't use the no-no words. The no-no words are, I can't, I won't, I don't know how, I don't know, I guess. All those that show me that you're wishy-washy. Instead of saying those words, especially if you say, or, well, let me be honest with you. Gosh, I hate that. Because as soon as you say, well, let me be honest with you, I'm thinking, well, have you not been honest the whole time? If you use that phrase, get rid of it. Here's what you're going to say if I ask you a question that you don't know. You're going to say, I don't know. But I tell you what, with your mentorship and training, I'm sure I can do whatever you need me to do. Now, did you catch that? With your mentorship and training, it's a fantastic answer. Don't overdo it. If I can ask you a bunch of questions that you don't know, well, you're probably not right for the job. But if I do ask you a question that you don't know, you've got to answer it. I don't know. But immediately say, But with your mentorship and training, I'm sure I can do whatever you need. I'm a quick learner. And of course, be positive and know that you can do that. If you can't do it, don't tell me you lie. I don't know how to do that. I never will. That's fine, because you don't want a job where I say, okay, go do this. You told me you can do it, and you can't. You're not going to last long in that job. Okay, so this is the end of the second video. We've talked about practice makes perfect. You've got to have someone that will listen to you in role play. And trust me, it sounds goofy, and you're gonna hate it the first 5 minutes. But once you get into it, and that person really helps you, you're gonna kind of enjoy it. We'll talk more about the time it takes. You're not going to put all 3 hours into this conversation. There's some other things you've got to do, and that's going to come up next. But I want to make sure that you have a person that's going to read these questions to you. You're going to answer them. You're going to work on the answers until you both agree the answer is good, and you're going to move on. Don't try to do this in front of the mirror. Don't try to do it inside of your head. It just does not work. Get someone to help you with those questions that you find on the internet. 50 questions for potential employers for AT&T or Google, or sales and marketing. There's a billion out there. I don't care what they are. You can start the 10 questions that we have in the class to help you formulate your answers to the presentation video. You can use those as a place to start. Those are very good general questions that a lot of people get. Okay, remember to answer less than 2 minutes. I have minute's the sweet spot in the notes, but 2 minutes is really the max, unless you've got a really good story you need to tell me. You got to walk me down the path to get there. Remember, try to use that managerial green triangle in your answers, how you made money, saved money, or saved time. Use positive, action-oriented words. If you've got to say, I don't know, that's fine, because I will keep on asking a question until you say you don't know something, because I want to see that you say I don't know. A lot of times in a really high-level interview, I will ask you a question that I might even make up to see if you're going to say, I don't know that one, but I'm sure with your mentorship and training, I can do it. That's what I want to hear. I want to make sure that you're honest enough to say you don't know some things. All right, that's it. Until the next video. Thanks. Bye.